All right. Calling the board, MCD board to order. And won't we just do a roll call vote at this point? Corky Collier.
Here.
Nikki Schultz.
Here.
And let's see, what else are we missing? Ken Anderton's here.
Darian.
What's that?
You're
Darian.
gonna owe Darian another beer.
Oh, there's Darian. God, Darian, you're right in front of me, and I'm not seeing you there on the screen there. Sorry, I'm doing this on my laptop, so I don't have the benefit of my dual screens, which always kills me. So, Darian.
Present and taking notes on this, Ken.
I owe you another. I think I owe you another beer, buddy.
It's 2 beers.
All right. Looks like we're in order. And looks like the first thing we have on the agenda is an executive session. And so I'll read that off if we can stop the recording.
Go ahead and read it first in public session.
Okay. Pursuant to ORS 40.225, ORS 192.355, 9A, and 192.6602F, the board will convene in the executive session to discuss legal advice and attorney-client privilege communication. All right, returning from executive session and moving into our regular program here, and are going to vote on a couple items coming out of that. One of which is, I guess we'll just take the asset acknowledgement first. And that is located in the chat. If I can get somebody to give me a motion on that one.
Yeah, if
I
I
can do
may,
that.
I'm offering it as a draft direction to us to draft a resolution, but that would imply that we'll be going to the SDIC board with similar information in this proposal.
Sounds good. So that the contents in the draft, if I could get somebody to read that off.
That looks great to me. I move to direct staff to draft a resolution to accept ownership and responsibility associated with the gate tower structure, western end of the drainage system, and the drainage pipes under the cross levee.
And can I get a second? Was that Nikki? You seconded it? And all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, motion passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you. With respect to the assessment issue, I also put into the chat 2 proposed motions addressing 2 separate issues. One concerning allocating staff time. The other is to authorize expenditure payments to Penn 2.
All right, again, it's in the chat. And if I could get a motion on both of those items on the assessment.
Do that. A move to authorize staff time and expenditures necessary to correct MCD's overbilling error, including to process refunds as proposed. Can I read the second one at the same time, or do we need to vote on this one first?
Let's vote on them separately, please. Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay. Corky seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Let's go on to the second one.
Move to authorize staff to transfer up to $20,000 to Penn 2 for the loss associated with MCDD's under billing error.
I'll second that one too.
You guys are on a roll. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries and proceed. MCD staff on those 2 items.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we're on item E, Business Oregon Levee Grant update. Colin, I believe you are next.
Hi, thanks all, Colin Rowan, Director of Planning and Public Affairs, going to give you a quick update on the Business Oregon grants that were applied for and awarded, supporting the drainage district's participation in the next phase of the Portland Metro Levee study, which is the pre-construction engineering design phase. So just a quick reminder of where we are in this process. In August of last year, 2021, the Army Corps of Engineers Chief of Engineers issued a chief's report, which means that they found federal interest in reinvesting in our system, which came at the end of the 3-year feasibility study. That moves us toward the next phase of the Portland Metro Levee study, which is a 3.5-year design phase called PED, Pre-Construction Engineering Design. We came to the drainage district boards last year with the opportunity to apply for a newly created levee grant fund through the Oregon Business Development Department, or Business Oregon. The boards directed staff to apply for these funds, which would support the non-federal requirement of 35% of the total PED phase. The Business Oregon funds had a 20% match, so it's weird math, but basically getting 80% of the 35% covered is a very good deal. We went ahead and worked with Business Oregon to put those applications together and put them in. All the boards received notice on August 8th that presented it to the Infrastructure Finance Authority Board, who has the discretion to decide who gets awarded these grants, and they were awarded. A couple notes, changes that came up in this process. As the next phase is a 3.5-year phase with the Army Corps, that there will be a design agreement that is signed. We've briefed the boards on this before, but in Business Oregon, taking a look at the request initially included just the first 2 years of PED, which is 70% of the total phase, as far as the cash that's required to participate. Business Oregon made the request that if it's a 3.5-year phase, and if there was any request that might be forthcoming to support year 3 and 4, to include that in the total request. It is up to annual appropriation by the boards, but it does allow for a bit of a backstop. The 2-year funding was put together with the assumption of a May 2024 dissolution and transition to the new district, so that the new district, Urban Flood Safety Water Quality District, would be covering the years 3 and 4 costs. So this does allow for the flexibility to either transfer the contracts, and we're going through due diligence to make sure we would be able to transfer those contracts, as well as if the dissolution happens on a different timeline, we'd still be able to participate and tap those grant funds through the existing drainage districts. So the next steps here are, there's 3 items that we'll be bringing to the boards for further discussion and hopefully having your approval. One is in that resolution that was signed in, I believe it was February of last year. It requested a cost sharing IGA. So it'll be the development of that cost sharing IGA, a resolution for the boards to approve signing of the contracts, and then also an update to the resolution, an amendment to the resolution that you already signed to allow the full 3.5 years of the PED phase. And before taking any questions, I just wanted to hand it over to Hong to, if I missed any points along the way. Okay, thumbs up. So with that, I'll take any questions or discussion on this.
Any questions? Usually you don't get a lot of questions when you're getting money.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I did forget one part of the update with just sort of where we are in this process. We are currently looking for both appropriations, which is the annual federal giving us money, and the authorization. The authorization, both the appropriation and authorization were in really good shape, but we're still waiting for final word. We are in both the House and Senate versions of the Water Resources Development Act of 2022 that had been slow walked for a few political reasons. Hopefully, we'll be able to move forward in that, but that is for congressional authorization of our project, which is really construction authorization, which is will still need annual appropriations, but that really says that Congress is authorizing this project to be constructed. And then we are in both the House and Senate budget bills for the federal fiscal year, as well as being included in the president's budget from the spring. So we are at the federal fiscal year begins October 1st. We're obviously at November 15th. There's a continuing resolution for the federal fiscal year that goes through mid-December. There's the possibility that it will be something like last year where the federal budget was approved in March. So whenever we have more information, we'll definitely share it with the board. So we're waiting on that appropriation in the federal budget would give us the green light to go on negotiating the design phase and going into that next PED phase. So either one of those is a really good thing, and I think we're well positioned for both.
All right. Thanks, Colin. Any other questions from the board? All right, good work.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah.
Congrats
We
again
appreciate-
for the troubles with the assessments and budgets, and we'll document and get back to you with some changes that we're going to make on our internal processes, and we'll let you know how Pen 2 and SDIC react to your decisions today.
Great. Well, we value the transparency, and like I said, it's okay to make mistakes. Just own them and learn from them. And appreciate you bring that to us. All right, looks like item. We have the
F.
Columbia Corridor Drainage District Local Contract Review Board. Do you have anything on that, Hong, or?
Wendy?
This is the matter that you discussed at the last meeting. Corky wasn't around. We were considering who to appoint to be MCDD's rep on the JCA board.
Oh yeah, I think we picked Corky, but he wasn't there.
That sounds familiar. Now, I'm working under what I heard was really no additional time needed. I think it was 35 seconds a year.
Well, so the JCA board includes members from each of the individual legacy district and one public member, and we try to schedule them at the same time as the format. And it is really just a board that, well, I think there will be some role in terms of implementing the budget from the LRC group that is now a subset of the urban district. So you're familiar with that. So it's the growing of the Corky Collier empire here. And then there are some local contracting board rules that may need to be amended from time to time. I don't expect that there will be any between now and potential dissolution date, but that would be coming to you if we had to do that. So.
Well, with minimal time commitment, I'm willing. If anybody else would like to take that on, that's fine with me too. I'm not looking to expand the empire right now.
Do we have?
You have to run the stats on who's on the most boards for the annual award, but you're
We are
catching up with Ken.
Neck and neck, Corky. I think we should create some new boards so we can, I think Wendy has enough to do. All right, well, anybody else interested? With
Thank you,
that, I
Corky.
think we should appoint Corky officially. And it's called I got a toggle here. MCD representation. Could I just use the acronym? CCDDJCA board and LCRB board. Can
I
I?
hate to admit, I actually know what you mean when you say that.
That's scary.
Yeah, I think you just need to just have a motion for Corky to be appointed as MCD's representative on the JCA board. In
JCA.
fact, yeah.
I was trying to impress you by the length of those acronyms there. So could I get a motion to appoint Corky Collier as our MCD's representative on the JCA board?
I will
I
move.
Go ahead, Darian.
Okay, I will move that we appoint Corky Collier to serve on as the MCDD's representative on the JCA board.
And could I get a second?
Second.
All right, and let's do a vote. Now we'll just do a regular vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes. Corky, good. Congrats.
Gee, thanks.
Thank you, Corky.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty. Looks like we have the SDAO board evaluation follow-up, Jim. I read through that and some good information in there. You want to give us a quick summary?
Sure. First of all, thank you guys for taking the time to do the self-assessment. It not only is a good practice, but it also saves us on insurance. So we appreciate that a lot. I have to confess that Hong and Lori and I are on point for resolving and making progress on the one area that you guys marked as yellow, and we have not had adequate time to prepare a formal presentation for you. Needless to say, we have some gaps in some of our compliance work, and one of the areas that you noted was records. And Hong has been a champion of trying to keep focus on resolving that potential liability. Thus far, it's been my decision-making about priorities and resources that have prevented much progress on that. However, with Lori's arrival, we have begun having some conversations about building a work program that will allow us to make steady progress on improving our ability to manage records more effectively. I do want to say that I believe while we have gaps in our systems, the new records that we are being produced are being very ably managed by the staff that we have. There is a pretty significant challenge to searching records on our system right now that creates challenges for many staff, in particular legal, but something that we do need to address. And we also have a backlog of historic records that I don't know that any of us who are on the staff were here when most of them were created, but we have many, many boxes that ultimately we do need a system to go through and store those that require appropriate storage, and we need to be able to retrieve some of those. Lastly, we've tried to institute some assignments on an interim basis for various staff to process public records should they come in. We are fortunate that at least currently and during my tenure, we've not had a significant number of requests and we've been able to manage them. But I guess what I'd like to tell you is that Lori, Hong, and I, as capacity permits, have made a joint commitment to each other to sit down and try and look at all the areas of compliance where we have room for improvement and to come up with a strategy for how best to apply the capacity we have to address those. I think it's really important for Hong and Lori, if they'd like to say something, to have something to say, and I want to express my appreciation to everybody for keeping their eyes on this important work that we've been unable to get to. And I want to own the decision-making around not diverting resources to this work since I've arrived, based on the needs for staff safety and just the crush of business getting the new district set up. So important, as I shared with you during my evaluation, that back to accountability, progress on this has not been made based on decisions that I made about allocation of resources. Hong or Lori, anything you want to say or any questions from the board?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I'll just add, with respect to the records issue, it's been a long-standing issue. I think this board knows. And to the extent that the districts are managing the records through electronic and has gone digital, our electronic and softwares are not up to date with respect to the standards of the public records as well as the state archive. But that presents a potential data security breach as well. So all that saying that obviously there will need to be some significant improvements to the systems of the district as we move into the new district.
For those of you who are fortunate enough to serve on the urban board, you will see in our forecast some proposed investments to address some of these challenges. But again, a lot more discussion and debate among the urban board about how to prioritize the resources that will be available to the new district as well.
Any questions on the SDAO report? I'll just share my thoughts. It was actually nice to have a third party ask us questions that we probably wouldn't have asked ourselves, that can make us think differently as a board and pause on the everyday actions we're taking to think about these different categories. I think this evaluator asked us, how does a board get along to, what type of interactions do you have with staff and executive level with the district? And I just think it's actually a really good process, and one I appreciated. It takes time, but I think it's important for us to pause and get feedback from a third party. All right. With no other questions, I think we're on other business. Do we have anything else?
I would just share, Ken or Corky, you may want to do it, just that we've kind of hit a big milestone with the urban district. And on Thursday evening at about 5 o'clock, we were able to share the initial modeling runs that take our initial forecast for revenue needs in year 5 of operations of the urban district and allocate that across ratepayers in the new district's geography. Big milestone, but it's very initial work, a lot more discussion among the board. I think some really important questions the board has raised that we need to spend more time with them on. It's my hope that we can spend the next couple of months with the urban board sort of getting through all the material we've put before them and hearing more about their hopes and dreams and concerns about that information. And then hopefully in February, we'll move more into a legislative process where there'll be a staff recommendation that board members will be able to make motions to amend as they desire, as long as there's a majority of votes to move forward. So more work to come on that, but a lot of work. And again, a lot of work from our finance team, a lot of work from Colin and his team, a lot of work from Hong, from the Bill and everybody feeding those costs in. So as hard as it is for the urban board to digest all the information, it's just been a really big summer of really cranking out some important work that I think sets the urban board up to help move forward on sustainable funding for our operations. I don't know, Corky or Ken, you guys are in the thick of it, so I hope I didn't overstate or understate or mislead anybody here.
No, I think that is a big milestone, and it's worth noting to everybody else that as confusing as all this is to the MCDD board, you guys, have more experience. The urban district is, it's harder for them to get up to speed with. There's a lot of history here on this board, and so it's a lot easier to understand some of these issues. The urban district, it's more difficult.
And there's 17 of you.
Yeah, that too.
But good people, working hard, trying to be helpful. So I think we continue to make good progress, I guess, is what I would want to report. The other thing that I think is important for you guys to know is we did hear back from Metro and the Port, and Bill is in the lead on establishing a meeting. This is about the damage to the levee that we talked to you about in an executive session. So we got timely responses. We will be sharing those responses with you at a upcoming meeting, because I think it's important for you to see what Marisa and Curtis Robinhold had to say about how we approach this, but we wanted to get to the next steps and get a meeting scheduled and have an initial conversation so we could update you. But again, both those agencies did reply with a name of someone and a willingness to continue to work with us. I also think it's really important to note that about a year ago was the Veterans Day flood, when we were dealing with a very desperate situation at Pump Station 4. This year, that entire area is cleaned up. There's not a single camper there. We're able to engage in normal operations. The cross levee has been cleaned up. The area of the damaged levee is cleaned up. Schmear Road is cleaned up. 33rd is getting cleaned up. So we've seen a substantial amount of progress thanks to the work of all of our partners and our operations team and Bill and Astor and the others on our shop. Hong's been great with the emergency contracting and declarations. And so just, I guess I want to share with you that I have a tiny shred of hope that we've turned a corner on this challenge. Still a lot more to do, and I'm hopeful that by sitting down with the Port and Metro, we'll be able to get more attention from the city and the county, and we'll continue to make progress protecting our critical flood safety assets. So, but good news, I think, for now, that progress is being made.
I think this is another instance of lessons learned as well to be applied. And one we should, I'm glad you're bringing it up as a topic at a future board meeting, because I think it's good to talk about partnerships and the challenges we're facing, and when we come up with both legal and political issues, that we need to, how we go about resolving those ahead of time. So
Again, we'll share those responses and set aside some time for a broader conversation about that. But I think there will be some implications, I guess, is what I would say, of the approach that that we took on this. And more to come. We wanted to have that initial meeting set up and kind of get a little bit better sense before we engaged you in a deeper dive on that. We have made progress at the site as well. There is topsoil down and some fabric down, and we're crossing our fingers for more sunshine and growing.
great. Any other questions? All right. Well, with that, I think we can adjourn if we don't have anything else. Thanks, everyone.